Well, good morning, Narrabeen Baptist. We have a really interesting reading for us today. I don't know if you've been enjoying this little dabble in Revelation. It is humbling to read this book, which is, yeah, got so much valid and crucial stuff for us to hear, but is also one of the most complicated pieces of literature in the history of all humanity. Um, yeah, I've been encouraged as I've read it and challenged and confused, and you probably felt all those things as well. Today we come to the beast and the mark of the beast, the number of the beast, all of these kind of infamous images from the book of Revelation. And as has been the case as we've been going through Revelation, the key to reading Revelation is to see the symbolism that is in this book as echoes of things that have been spoken in Scripture before. And in our chapters today, specifically in chapter 13, you will see lots of echoes to the Old Testament book of Daniel. We come across this image of the beast, which comes from Daniel as well, where there are four beasts. And we're presented with beasts who have come from the dragon being the embodiment of evil. And like the serpent from Genesis chapter 3, that we just read about in chapter 13, here we get a different angle on the same struggle with evil. We have the beast, and there are two of them. And the first thing that we find out about these beasts is that they come out of the sea, which is the place of chaos and disorder. And there's a sort of sense that they are a counterfeit Messiah. There's counterfeit godlike qualities to them. So the first beast looks like he has a fatal wound, just like the sacrificial lamb in this book. He's worshipped by people. They say things like, "Who is like the beast?" Which is a parody of all of those Psalms and Old Testament quotations which say, "Who is like the Lord?" So there is an imitation game that the beast takes part in, taking the place of God in the lives of many people. And I think that the first beast represents something like empires and specifically military powers. So for Daniel, the beast represented nations, Babylon, Persia. For John, when he was writing this, it would have represented Rome and the Roman Empire. And the second beast, I think, represents the economic machines that are a part of those those nation powers. You kind of get the vibe of the economic machines when you read through verses 15 to 17 in this chapter. This second beast is the one who instructs everyone to worship the first beast. And this beast produces the mark that will be given to all on their forehead and on their hand. So let's take a moment to think about what this mark of the beast is. I think that it's borrowing the imagery from the Shema in the Old Testament to say that this mark is a designation of total allegiance, complete conformity to the lifestyle of the beast, to the things that it endorses. You remember back in the Old Testament, God, through the Shema, he instructed his people that they should write the law on their heads and on their hands, demonstrating that the law of God is the thing that will shape all of their thoughts and all of their actions. And this mark of the beast will be the exact opposite of that. Rather than demonstrating your allegiance to God through your thoughts and actions, the mark of the beast is a demonstration of your allegiance to the beast through all of your wrong thoughts and wrong actions. So this is what the mark of the beast is about. It's about who you're aligned to. And then in chapter 14, we start with the symbol. We start with the Lamb's choir singing a song about coming out of Babylon and inviting others to join the Lamb's army, whose names are all written in the Lamb's book of life. And then chapter 14 will go on to describe the fate of these two groups, those who align them, whose allegiance remains with the beast, and those whose allegiance has left the beast and is no longer with the beast, but with the Lamb. And the chapter presents a choice before us. we can belong to either the beast or to the lamb. That's the choice that is before every one of us. And the encouragement of these verses, given the fate of those who belong to the lamb compared to the fate of those who belong to the beast, is the encouragement is to resist the lure of Babylon and to follow the way of the lamb, who leads us in his self-sacrificial love. The way that it looks like defeat, the lamb leads us and it's a sacrificed lamb, but ultimately that way leads to victory. Rather than to follow in the way of the beast, which looks so victorious, but ultimately it leads to destruction. And we see that destruction described for us in very confronting imagery. Have a look at verses 19 and 20 of chapter 14. This is what it says. The angel swung his sickle on the earth and gathered its grapes, these are the people who belong to the beast, and threw them into the great winepress of God's wrath. They were trampled in the winepress outside of the city, and blood flowed out of the press, rising as high as the horse's bridle for a distance of 300 kilometers. So the image is terrifying of so much blood and wrath being poured out that the end result is pretty much 6-foot high blood for 300 kilometers. And the encouragement of these chapters is to not be a part of that pouring out of wrath, but instead to find ourselves in the Lamb's choir, to be those who invite others to join, to leave Babylon behind and to come and join the Lamb's army. There are 3 encouragements as you read through these chapters. The first one, it comes and it says, this calls for patient endurance and for faithfulness. And then it says, this calls for wisdom or discernment. And then again it says, this calls for patient endurance on the part of the people of God who keep his commands and remain faithful to Jesus. And that is the encouragement of these verses. Do not follow in the way of the beast. Don't be marked by the beast. Be marked by the Shema, by the way of the Lamb. Patient endurance and faithfulness, wisdom and discernment. Follow and remain faithful to Jesus. I hope that's encouraging for you to read that. Have a good day.